Hey y'all, it's Ron. I'm back out here at my favorite state park, the Cumberland Mountain State Park. And today I come out here to find some birds. Now I was out here a little while ago, about a week or so, and I seen a lot of birds one evening. Now this is the middle of the day, but it is cloudy out, okay? And I'm hoping to see some birds. Right now, I can hear birds. I'm hoping to see some birds. This is June, middle of June, summertime. So the birding opportunities a lot of times are not that great during the summertime, okay? Pretty much like at my house, I got a bird studio in my backyard, and I'll show you a picture of that real quick. And I feed the birds in the fall, winter, into the spring months, but I don't feed them so much in the summer months, okay? So they don't stay around the backyard after that. They usually go back in the woods behind my house, or they're out in the field, and they can pretty much fend for themselves. So right now I hear a titmouse and another bird right over there. Let me get Merlin ID out and let's identify this bird that's over there, okay? Because right away I probably would know what it is, but I don't recognize it. In fact, we're just going to turn Merlin ID on. Here it is right here on the phone. If you don't have Merlin ID, you need to get it, okay? It'll improve your birding tremendously. Yellow-throated vireo over there, way over there. So I'm not going over there, okay? There's a young boy right here on some rollerblades. How you doing, young man? Guess you can get around pretty fast on those, can't you? Hey, how you doing?
Good, how you doing? Good.
Let's see, you got the grandkids, right?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Hi. You can always tell when the grandparents have the grandkids. I was out here the other night, and there was another set of grandparents had one of their grandsons fishing, okay? So I guess that's a popular thing to do in the summertime. So right here, the other night, I seen some cardinals. I'm not hearing anything. I might go over here. There's a bench. There's a bench right down the pathway here. I'm gonna go down there and sit on the bench and be quiet for a while to see if anything's moving around. Come on with me. Well, so far, I'm not having any luck. I heard a yellow-breasted vireo? Yellow-throated vireo way over yonder. And Merlin said it heard a black and white warbler, but I didn't see it, and I really didn't hear it myself. But the only bird I've heard out here is the yellow-throated vireo. And anybody knows anything about vireos, it's hard to get a picture of one of them. Right, Phil? Phil knows. Of course, he was after the elusive white-eyed vireo, I believe, down in Chattanooga. You can check out his channel. I'll put a link in the description. You can see some of his bird photography. Man, I like to just find one bird today. Walking around, it's hot. It must be about 85 degrees. So yeah, it's hot. Muggy too. Kind of humid out. Anyways, we're gonna keep on walking. See if we can find a bird. So far, I did get one picture. It was an eastern bluebird on a bench. And speaking of eastern bluebird, I hear another one right over here. So far, I haven't heard a whole lot. I did hear some birds right here. Let me tell you what I heard so far right here. Pulled up Merlin and look at it. Yeah, so right here, well, okay. So I heard a song sparrow, a northern parula, a chipping sparrow, and an eastern bluebird. The only one I actually seen was the eastern bluebird. And I made a few photographs of it, and I'll show you that in the video right now. There's a lot of nest box out there at the state park where I was walking today, and this bluebird happened to be near a nest box, but it was actually on the back of a bench, and I had to maneuver just a little bit because the way he was positioned, you could see the pavement behind him, which was kind of blowing out the highlights. So I kind of moved to one side and got down on my knee to take this photograph. I did take a few pictures of a couple of flowers. They got a brand new wildflower garden out here that's not matured yet, but there was one wildflower. I don't even know what it was, but I took a picture of it. Here it is now. There's a bluebird that just landed on a stone pillar right over there, and it's a little bit dark. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna be able to pull the shadows out of that, but I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put that photograph into Lightroom right now, and let's work on that just a little bit and see what I can do with that bluebird picture. I'm now going to take you into Lightroom, and we're going to look at this photograph right here of this bluebird, and it was sitting on a rock, I don't know, like a rock wall, and it was a pretty good distance from me. I was using the D500 with the 500 hand holding, by the way, and you can see my settings on the screen there. The shutter speed was 1/1000th of a second, f5.6, and the ISO was up there. It's about 2800 ISO. Now, anybody who has a D500 and knows that when you shoot up into those higher ISOs, you know, getting up to 3600 or 4000, the noise gets pretty intense on that sensor. So what I'm going to do is do full screen view here, so you can just see the noise that's in the photograph now yourself, okay? And we're going to apply the Lightroom denoise on this when I get into the editing part of it. Now, to unzoom this picture, this image right here, you just hit the Z key on the keyboard or mouse click on the image itself, okay, like that. And now we're at the full image here. We haven't done anything to it. This is the raw image. If we go look at the Lightroom settings under the develop module, everything is zeroed out. The first thing I want to do is I want to just apply my Lightroom auto settings, and that's normally what I do on every photograph. So I'm going to hit the auto settings, and this is what Lightroom has done to the photograph. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to crop it, okay? And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to a vertical crop. And the reason why is there's a lot of green over here and a lot of this brightness up here that I really don't want to include in the photograph. I really just like to isolate the bird on this perch right here. So I'm going to change that to a vertical crop, and the quickest way to do that is hitting the X key on your keyboard, okay? Or you can go up and change it up here using the crop tool. I like to use the X key. Now I'm going to adjust the crop, and I am maintaining the constraints of the original image, and I think we'll just go up just a little bit, try to get that bird almost to the rule of thirds and about halfway up the image. And I do want to accent or highlight some of the stonework that's here, okay? So this is an okay crop for me. I'm gonna hit the enter key to accept the crop. Now at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and apply my denoise to this image. There's a lot of schools of thought to that, but this is the way I do it. I'm going to hit the Lightroom denoise, and I'm going to run it about 65. Normally I run it low, I don't run it too high. And we're going to let that render now. It's rendering for us, and then we're going to see the differences between the two photographs when I get finished. Lightroom has finished with the denoise. Let's have a look at that real quick by zooming in on the photograph. And as you can see, it has cleaned it up fairly nicely. This photograph here is not tack sharp, but it's acceptably sharp for what I like to call my social media postings, okay? You know, a lot of people have a different philosophy about how sharp something should be. Well, this is what I call social media acceptable. You can see there's some nice details in the stonework here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead right away and I'm going to edit on this just a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is I want to darken the background here, but not the bird. So I'm going to go up here to the masking options, okay, which is this icon right here. The shortcut key to that would be Shift W if you want to do that. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to tell it to select the subject. Let's see if it'll just select the bird right now. And it did, okay, and did a pretty good job of that. But I want to work on the reverse of the bird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the three buttons, the three dots right here next to the first mask that I just created. I'm going to say duplicate the mask and invert the mask. Now I have the second mask, okay, and I'm going to rename those so I don't get lost. So this one right here, I'm going to double click on it and call it bird. And this one right here, I'm going to double click on it and call it background. And you can get really detailed in your masking, but this is what I'm going to do, okay? What I'm going to do right away is bring down the exposure on the background. We're not affecting the bird. And this stone area right up here where it's really bright is kind of distracting to me. So I'm going to pull the highlights down just a little bit over the entire image. And as you can see, it's getting a little better. And if we want to, we could actually mask that down some more. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a linear gradient here. And let's go down here to the plus key and create a new mask. Go to linear gradient and then pull down, hold your mouse key down and pull down from the top. And you can see everything in red is what we're going to affect. Now if I want to just work on that area and reduce the exposure a little bit more, I can, okay, to remove some more of that distraction from that area. And that looks pretty good right there. I'm going to go ahead and click on the masking icon again to close this. And if you want to see a before and after, you can hit the backslash key, which is the key right above the return key on your keyboard. That's before, that's after, before, and after. Now what we need to do is we need to work on the bird, okay? So I'm gonna go back to the masking tool, Shift W, or click on the icon right there at the top right-hand corner. And I'm gonna go down here to bird, okay? And what I wanna do is I wanna raise the exposure slightly for the bird, okay? And I'll tell you what, while we're here, let me close this real quick. Let's go ahead and zoom in so we can see the bird. And now we're going to, I zoomed in by clicking on the image, okay? Now I'm going to select the bird mask, and I'm going to increase the exposure slightly. And I'm going to leave the contrast where it is. I'm going to bring the highlights back, and I'm going to increase the shadows there just a little bit more, and a little whites. I like to do this with my manual contrast and a little less blacks. And now what we can do is close that masking, and now what you can do is the before and after on the bird and the background. This is the entire image. This is before the bird was edited. This is after. I know switching back and forth like that, you kind of get the background distracting you, but you can see there are changes to the bird. Now what we're going to do is, I'm pretty well almost finished with this, okay? All I need to do is apply a little sharpening to the image, and I have a sharpening preset down here that I have set up, and I'll show you those. I'm going to show you the sharpening area right here. When I use my medium sharpening, these are the settings that I use, okay? Now I have 3 sharpening levels in presets. I have heavy, light, medium, and none, okay? So they're real quick to get to over here in my presets on the left-hand side. If I click none, it's going to turn the sharpening off. If I want a little more sharpening, I can hit heavy, and you get a heavy-duty sharpening. You know, look at the settings over here. The amount is 75. On the light, the amount is 25, and on the medium, it's 45, okay? So mostly I use the medium, amount 45, radius 0.5, detail 100, and I don't use any masking, okay? Not like that. And this is for, you know, like a social media post. So there is the before here. This is the after. I found a squirrel. You want to see its picture? Okay, I'll show it to you. I almost didn't see him. I walked over from the other side to this wall, and he's right up there in a grapevine, right about where my finger is. Let me see if I can zoom in on him. You see him right there? He's in the crook of that vine, that part that's hanging down, right about where my finger is. Right there. I've been hearing some birds, heard a red-eyed vireo. If you listen carefully, you might hear it right now. Anyways, they're hard to get a photograph of too. I've gotten them before, but it's only after a great amount of luck. There's no skill, okay? In fact, I'll tell you what, there's no skill at all in finding birds. The skill lies in your ears, being able to hear the birds and identify them. And that's one reason you got to get Merlin ID app and play with it. When you're sitting in your backyard, you ain't got nothing to do, just turn that thing on and listen to the birds it finds. And then after you do that for a long time, someday you'll be able just to listen in the woods and say, that is a red-eyed vireo, or that is an eastern bluebird, or that is a northern parula. I can do a lot of birds, but a lot of the warblers I can't. They sound so similar, some of them do. But a lot of the common birds, you know, the cardinals, titmouse, finches, the ones that stay native here all year round in Tennessee, I can pretty much do those. Listen right here. That's that red-eyed vireo. They stay high up in the canopy in the brush. They don't normally come out. They might make a mistake and come out. That one there is pretty vocal. Well, the truck's back over here to my right, but I'm gonna walk down here this peninsula because I might hear some birds down here. I've already made the full loop around this trail, and you pretty much seen everything I was able to capture. So let's go down here and see if we hear something else. Now, this is one of the places I like to come and kayak. Number one, it's close to home, okay? Number two, they have a nice kayak launch. I just seen a bird over there. And you can back your truck up over here and put your kayak right in the water and go for a paddle. So this is only about 10 minutes from my house. Let's see what kind of bird that was. There was a bird that flew up in the tree branch up here. I was right. There was a bird up there in that tree branch. It flew across the lake though. Hey man, this kind of photography, this time of year, I think I saw another bird. It's tough, okay? It's tough. Yep, bluebird. There he goes. Over there, up in the tree. So I'm gonna come down here. There's some picnic tables down here by the water. I'm gonna come here and find me one. I'm hearing some birds down here. Okay, just listen for a minute. Merlin says that is a brown thrasher. That is another bird that's a little bit shy, okay? I'm gonna go here and sit down, see if he makes an appearance. Maybe, and maybe not. You want to hear what one sounds like? Here, let me play it for you. There he goes. Flying way over there. He's interested. I'm going to sit here for a while. Well, I got a couple snaps of that brown thrasher, and I'll show you those. They're not great, okay, but I'll show them to you anyways. I guess that's going to be it for my big birding adventure of June the 13th, 2025. Okay, it's just too damn hot out here. Not seeing too many birds. So here we are, June, July, August. We got about 3 more months till fall migration starts, okay? So I got plans to make. I don't know what I'm gonna do this fall. I've already made my camping reservations for November, and that'll be another video. Look at this right here. I mean, that is really, that could be a nice photograph, okay? If the sun was setting off in the distance there, and I think it does. In fact, I think I took a picture here one time with the sunburst in it, and let me find that in my computer real quick and show it to you, okay? We'll go into Lightroom here and see if we can find it. Okay, I was able to find that photograph, and I'm gonna show it to you right now on the screen. Now that photograph was not luck. I mean, it was lucky that there was no clouds that night, but I did use photo pills to determine when the sun would be at the optimum position to take that photograph with the bridge. And photo pills is a great tool if you don't have it. I would consider getting it, watching as many videos as you can, because for $9.99 forever, okay, you don't have to pay again. It's a pretty powerful tool, okay? And it's a little complex, so you got to watch some videos on YouTube on how to use it. But it's really great for figuring out where the sun is going to rise and set, and you can pin a location. Also, it's good for Milky Way planning, those kind of things. So yeah, if you don't have it, go get it, okay? It's a worthwhile. Okay, two things that I want to show you, and I've got my iPhone displayed on the screen right now. And the two things I want to show you are the two apps that I mentioned in this video. The first one I want to take you to is Photo Pills, okay? And let me pull that up for you so you can see it. And this is what the interface to Photo Pills looks like. And I usually use the planner at the top left-hand corner. And let me give you an example here. I think I've saved that Cumberland Mountain State Park Bridge. So if I go down to the bottom, there's some menu options at the bottom, and one of them is load, and then mine are under points of interest. And if I go down here to the C's, which would be Cumberland Mountain, I think, is what I listed it as. Let's see if that is it. I don't think this one is it. Yes, this is it. That is me standing on the dock, okay, where those boats are. And I'm going to actually rotate the screen around so you can see. And the red line, okay, the red line is where the sun will be today, okay, which is the 17th. If I want to see when the sun is going to be rising over that bridge, which you can see the bridge right there, okay, then I need to figure out when the sun's going to be there. Now, I believe, if I remember rightly, it was in February, okay? So let's advance it by sliding the bottom bar, just taking my finger and sliding up. And you watch as we go through the year, okay? Get past the longest date now, we're into July. And see how the red line is starting to move back across the bridge? And we keep on going. And now we're into September. So shortly here, I'll have an opportunity. It looks like probably in October, okay, will be one time that I'll have an opportunity where the sun will be setting over there. And if you look at the top, at the very top up here, right up here at the top, it tells you, that red dot tells you what time sunset is local time. The yellow dot next to it is sunrise. So if I keep going, you can see the sun keeps moving. But there is a spot, if you noticed in the photograph I showed you, there is a spot where the trees, where you're looking down the lake, okay? And that's the spot you want to be in. That's the sweet spot. Now, in order to make this work really well, you almost have to go on site to do it. And when I was there taking the photographs, I was on site, and I was able to figure out where my point of view was going to be, where my camera was going to be pointed. So that's one of the apps I want to highlight for you. The other app that I mentioned in the video is Merlin ID, okay? And I've got that in my birding folder. And if you look right here, this is Merlin ID, okay? And when you're out in the field, let's just say you have this loaded on your phone and you're sitting on your back deck or whatever, and you're listening to birds with your ear and you want to know what kind of birds they are. Well, all you have to do is hit that center button right there called Sound. And when you do that, Merlin's going to be watching or listening, Merlin's going to be listening for bird sounds. And when it finds them, it's going to display them on the screen. Now at any time you can stop this listening by hitting the little red button at the bottom. And when you do that, it's going to take you to another screen that's going to show you the birds that you were listening to. Now I believe I can pull up yesterday's or whatever. Let me go to, see. Let me see what that is. Let me hit back. My sound recordings. Right here at the bottom, it saves these recordings on your phone every time you do this. Let's see if I can get to that. Here we go. And there's the date and times of some recordings. Let's go back to the one I think would have been, looks like on the 13th at 1:40. These are the 3 birds that Merlin heard. Okay, now I'm going to play those. If I want to hear what the red-eyed vireo sounds like, you just hit the little down arrow to the right of the bird, and then you can just hit one of the songs. Listen to this. Well, I've got my I've got my USB port plugged up. You can't listen to this, so I'm going to have to unplug it for you to hear it. Anyways, you can play those sounds back and listen to them. That's how I train my ear, okay? So that is another app that you can get. Go to the Play Store, okay, the App Store, I'm sorry, and you just do a search and you type in Merlin right here. Oops, get my typing right. Bird ID. And this is the one you want right here. This one at the bottom with it says Merlin Bird ID by Cornell. Now the other one is Photo Pills, okay? The Merlin Bird ID is free. Photo Pills, okay, has been around for a long time, okay? And this is the icon right here, Photo Pills, the little yellow icon. I believe it cost $9.99. It's what it cost when I bought it. I think it's still $9.99. It will tell you that, okay? And there's also some suggestions at the bottom. The photographers, how do you say that? Ephemeris, okay? It's $9.99 also, okay? And you can download that if you like too. Anyways, I just wanted to show you those apps. Okay, that's gonna do it for today. I didn't get a whole lot of photographs, but I did have a nice walk, and I did get the D500 out and use it, which I haven't used it in quite a while. It sits on my dresser in my bedroom, and I use it to shoot out in the or photograph birds that are out in the backyard. Shoot's such a bad word, sounds like I'm killing them. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that. There are trials and tribulations in photography. You've seen that today. You don't always come home a winner, and you just show what you get and have fun doing it, okay? Whew, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with more of what I do. We'll talk to y'all later. See ya, bye-bye.